All right, welcome everyone to week 9 of Haibo Does Data, our metrics review for SmashUp Fantasy Sports. As always, I'm joined here with my co-host Owen. Thursday night this week, a game's actually happening right now. I will say, I expected this to be a little bit higher scoring. It's 14-7 right now at the half. Who knows
Yep.
what's going to happen in the second half, but I was expecting this to be a little bit higher scoring.
Yeah, I mean they've just kept Henry bottled up. Like they kind of keep bringing that up. He's not getting loose. And then, the interception in the end zone that was turned over. It's like, yeah, the same foot down twice doesn't count. I feel like it does for 2 feet down. But yeah, good matchup at least.
Yeah, yeah. So week 8, we're officially are we officially
Yeah, I
into the
think
second
so.
half?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
Thursday, so we're Thursday week 9 games have started. We're there.
week 10 now. Yeah. So we just finished week 9. We are now in week
That's
10
right.
and officially the second half of the year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man.
It's flying by.
Um, yeah. Yeah. I know we say this every week, but
That's right.
it feels like it's just moving so fast. But
Yeah,
yeah, so should we just get into it?
let's do it.
Owens top 5. What do we
Let's
got?
see. A little quicker this week, but still same themes. Rookie quarterbacks. Only one of them got a win this week, and of course it was Jaden. The Commanders almost kind of lost it there at the end of the Giants, but Nix, May, Daniels, all lose. A couple of them pretty gloriously blowouts. Number two, Bryce Young leads the Panthers to victory, 23-22. So kudos to the Saints. That keeps their 7-game loss streak rolling along. Here's the thing to watch this week, right? They've got the Falcons at home, a game they should not win, but that's the kind of game the Falcons lose and the Saints win. So we'll see there. Chiefs, number 3, 8-0, continue to roll, but don't look, now the Lions 7-1. I mean, what a streak they're on. They just look great, took care of Green Bay. Number 4, the NFC North remains the only division at 500 or better. Pretty impressive this many weeks in, right? Like you said, 9 weeks completed. Still, that's I'd have to look back, but that's a pretty impressive run. And then last, me, I lost to Deadeye again. I need to reverse it this week. I hope I can do it, but it's real disheartening.
I mean, you and everyone else.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not
Deadeye has
alone.
we will get to that in a little bit, but Deadeye has been crushing it these first
Yeah,
2 weeks.
yeah, yeah.
It is not easy, not easy. Um, yeah, that Saints Falcons game. I mean, Panthers over the Saints. Is it the Panthers are not as bad as we thought, or is it the Saints are as bad as we thought?
They're just a mess right now. I mean, they had Carr back, and you got Kamara, but the I don't know. They're just not making the plays. I mean, I think that's it. They're not doing what it takes to win games. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else. Coaching change. I don't know where it's at, but it's a mess. But don't glad I'm not a Saints fan.
I will say I actually I had a couple other things going on this weekend, so I unfortunately didn't watch that many games. The one I did watch was the Eagles game, and talk about highlight plays.
Saquon.
Two of the top 3 plays,
Yeah,
including one of the craziest
yeah.
craziest plays I've ever seen with
Who
Saquon.
does a backwards hurdle? Who does that? Like, I just nuts.
And it's like someone's gonna try it,
Yeah,
and they're just
yeah,
gonna get obliterated.
yeah. It's not going to go well for the next person.
No, no. All right, well, let's jump into the data, and let's take a look at what we saw from last week. As always, and I know we have quite a few new folks again joining us, especially a bunch from Fantasy Pros. Yeah, if you haven't signed up for the weekly tournaments or for leagues, definitely check those out. Completely free to play, and you have cash prizes every week. This week, I think we're paying out the top 50. So definitely go and kind of set your lineups. Um, Last week was huge. I think we had close to normally we get around, 1,500, 2,000 lineups. We had close to 4,000 lineups last week.
It's amazing.
So huge number of folks, a lot of them playing single player. And again, across weekly, single player, league, these are your top, not top scorers, top picks, um,
Yeah.
top picks for the week.
Yeah.
Um, anything jump out at you?
I think we're starting to see more and more of the strategy of cards play into what people are doing. Like not with a Tillman, right? He was underpriced, great play, and then he delivered. But when I look at quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Matt Stafford, great with cannon arm, right? You just have
Mhm.
these plays that people maybe not typically would be playing, but they're hitting. And then you've got the Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, kind of those runners, Mr. Relevant, things like that just draw you to these players. So I love it. I am curious where the kickers ended up this week. Did we have another big a big kicker spike?
Yeah. I don't think we did, but
Okay.
I am pretty surprised. Like, if you look at the defenses, Tennessee as the top picked defense.
Yeah.
Um,
Was it all burnt ends?
I know. It was like we talked about it last week. Tennessee with burnt ends. The top pick defense. That was very interesting. Going over here, more or less nothing nothing too crazy. One card that is making a debut into the top 10 is, as you said, Cannon Arm. And
Yep.
I think you see that with the quarterbacks. But a lot of people starting to play Cannon Arm.
Well,
Um,
it just follows the trends, Haibo, right? You remember the beginning of the year, what were we talking about? Quarterbacks, what no one had thrown over like 180 yards after, I don't know. It was like it was a real slow offensive start this year, maybe because of the three preseason games, but just it took guys a while and now they're coming into form. And I mean, you are seeing these 350-yard games, four touchdowns, and that cannon arm card with that is just beautiful.
And right above Cannon Arm at number 9, also making its debut, Antihero.
Yeah.
Um, Triples touchdown points from tight ends. Tight ends have been terrible, but they're
Yeah.
starting to come around. They're starting to come around.
You think there's any correlation there, Haibo? Quarterbacks start doing better, so do tight ends.
A little bit, but I think a lot of it is also, I mean, you look a
Yeah.
ton of people, just Cade Otton is, I think Cade plus Antihero was just the,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people played that combo. And then right there,
There it is.
the top combo overall, Cade plus Antihero. I think everyone's
Mhm.
like, there's one clear tight end, and also Cade wasn't that overpriced. I mean,
Oh,
he was actually very reasonably priced. I think that was just a, a huge pick right there.
yeah, I
But
like the human vulture in there. I think it's interesting to play it on Williams because he's such kind of a workhorse. But I look, if I can lobby as a fan and a player, I'd like another $1,000 option. I think that price point, even if it's something kind of risky, I think people just want to do it. I end up with 1,000 left, or it's between this, like I've got 3,500, but do I do that? I don't know. I'd love another $1,000 card, and I think I speak for a lot of people.
so we're actually, I think, going to be coming out with a couple $1,000 and potentially $500 cards.
Oh wow.
To really, sometimes you have that 500 left over and,
Yep.
something like that. So, yeah, we'll, keep an eye out for some of those new things coming down the line.
I like it, Haibo. Nobody likes their card money burning a hole in their pocket. It doesn't feel good to leave that left over. I'm always okay leaving some cash left over on players, but with
Hmm.
cards, it drives me crazy.
Yep. So yeah, I think we're definitely coming out with some
Love it.
lower priced stuff.
It's great.
So because there were so many lineups, I thought it'd be interesting to look at the top 50 instead of just the top 20 like we've been doing the last couple of weeks. So these are your top 50 highest scoring lineups. And what are some of the commonalities that we see across them? And definitely, I mean, this was a big running back week. It was a big running back week, and it was the running backs you expected. Like people hit Barkley, Henry, like Kamara, like you hit on the ones that you expected.
Yeah, you know who did? Other people. I did not hit. This was my week, and I was like, man, I'm going all in. AJ Brown. I was like loaded up on, wide receivers, and yeah, I missed again.
And we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but when you look at for these top 50, what were some of the combos? You see it right there at the top. Hellacious halfbacks plus hurricane
Yeah.
season. We're
Yep.
going to talk about that a little bit later, but that combo right there is has been like when it hits with your running backs, it hits. And we've seen a lot of really high scores come from that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, pretty interesting. We'll I love what you pointed out earlier. Like as the season has evolved, you see that with the cards and kind of how people are playing as well. And as we kind of go into the second half of the year and as we come out with new cards, we'll kind of continue seeing how that works.
Awesome.
Um, Now, one of the special things we did last week was um, we had 14 special Halloween cards. So special shout out to these 14 users. We basically, part of it was we wanted to see who had the highest scoring lineup with each of these cards. I thought for sure somebody was going to play multiple of these cards and have a really high scoring lineup with two of them. Did not end up that way.
Huh.
14 unique users had the highest scoring lineup for each of these cards.
Wow.
Um,
Huh.
and you can see most of them, like 13 of the cards placed in the top 50.
Yeah.
So a lot of them were like very high scoring. And then, man, West Coast offense, we need to, I mean, I think we need to adjust West Coast offense a little bit. It is, it is not doing that well.
It's not a card that I often go to.
The top West Coast offense player plays, over 250. So,
Yeah. Wow.
definitely something for us to take a look at. But by and large, really well played there. And of course, we can't move on without talking about single player. Single
Yeah.
player was huge last week. Over 1,000 people played newbie. About 26% of them won. So newbie actually had a really good week as well. The week before, if you remember, I think we talked about newbie. It was about a 75%. So about 75% of everyone who played newbie beat him. Last week, only a quarter of that. And that's just, it's just fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes you just hit and sometimes the best player will lose to the worst player
Yeah.
just
That's
because.
the fun of head to head. You truly never know. I'm hopeful though that we see a lot of the 777 that lost come back along with some new players. So I hope we can really see that 1,050 push up this week. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And again, there's only six bosses and there's
Yep.
10 weeks left. So
Yep.
you definitely have plenty of time. Um, Deadeye, again, just
Hmm. He's on
you were
fire.
definitely
He's
he's
on
on
fire.
fire.
Yeah.
Of the two, like basically 12% pass rate. Um, so, that's gonna be a little
Well,
bit challenging. But
here it is, Haibo. This week, Deadeye, 80% of the people are going to beat him. I'm feeling it's going to just be a onslaught against Deadeye this week. He can't keep it going like this.
no, I would agree. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's gonna be 80%, but I would put it
you're
at
right.
least 50% plus.
Yeah,
I think it's
variance is going to get him. I promise you.
yep. Um, I will say though, of the 24 that kind of beat him, that means we are now officially moving on to the
Love it.
third boss. So
Hey, who
drum
is it?
roll, big release. Third boss, Smash Mouth.
Oh, nice.
So, Deadeye, very kicker focused. Smash Mouth, running backs and defense. I don't know who writes these. I actually I should really like this little bio. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna read the bio.
Yeah.
No, old school, right? David Smashmouth Hayes hears that a lot, but he doesn't mind. He is old school, right? Football isn't won with skinny receivers making ballet catches. Funny enough, when we talk about skinny receivers making ballet catches, I automatically think of Devonta Smith, and he had quite a catch this past week, but
Sure did.
um, not according to Smash Mouth, right? Football is won in the trenches, won with defense, won by getting to the quarterback. It's won by imposing your will and running the ball down your opponent's throat. So what if they call him old school defense and running the ball wins championships?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's certainly a philosophy. And with trench warfare, let's take a look at his special card. Trench warfare. All running backs and defenses get a 1.5x multiplier.
Jeez.
That's, you know,
Now, is Smash Mouth allowed to play hellacious halfbacks stacked on top of trench warfare? I just need to know right now what those 24 people are going to be up against.
I think that's going to be up to the player. I think that's going to be
Woo!
up to the player. But yeah, you're looking at potentially,
Jeez.
very, very focused around that play style. And you know, for Deadeye and Newbie, it's been Smash Up that's been kind of controlling them. Smash Mouth is going to be the first one where it will be somebody else. And we're super happy to announce, if and when you get to Smash Mouth, you will be playing against
Oh, wow.
Pat Fitzmaurice.
That's
Fitz,
awesome.
um, he is his bio, he's the managing editor and a fantasy football analyst at Fantasy Pros. That's really underselling him.
Yeah, it sure is.
Fitz is a he is a legend in this space.
Oh, this is great.
He is an excellent, excellent analyst and has just, he is an expert. Yeah, I mean, he is the definition of a fantasy football expert. And now's your chance to go head to head against Fitz and
Well,
see if you can't beat him and beat Smash Mouth.
I mean, first, as great as Pat is, he's the third boss. I mean, and there's three. I don't. This is impressive. This is great. This is really cool.
And he's I think we put his Twitter handle up, tweet him,
Yeah.
tweet at him,
Yeah.
talk some trash if you're going up. Now, the bosses, remember, don't get a bonus to their Smash card budget. So they always just have that 12,000. If you've been playing since the beginning, your budget should be at like 15 or 16,000 by this point. For newer players, every week your budget goes up and the bosses don't. So while they do have some of these special cards, you can actually play more Smash cards and you can play more powerful combos, against them week by week. So, it's not I mean, it will certainly be a challenge, but it's not an impossible one. You have some advantages too.
Yeah, this is great.
And one of those advantages, if we were to talk about combos, I mean, this was it last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Quarterback gets a huge negative, while all running backs get a 1.75. Pair that with also a 1.5 from hurricane season. Basically, what this says is ignore everybody else, pour your money into your three top running backs, play these cards, and you kind of are done.
Yeah. Yeah. And high risk, high reward. If those running, I mean, I feel like we're making it sound real easy here, but it's hard to pick three great running backs. I mean, it's not trivial, but like when all the top ones hit, this is unbeatable, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and let's switch over and kind of take a look. So this was the weekly tournament.
Yeah.
And
Look at that. I'm sorry. I was just 119 points. Look at those scores below on just the player points. And then when you see what they did with the cards.
yep, yeah, this was a win by the cards.
Yep.
And E. Clausen 73, two missing,
Yeah.
no quarterback, no tight end, hit on Henry, Saquon, and Kamara. I mean,
With a run CMC.
with a run CMC on Kamara, 30 points. Remember when we talked about run CMC and there's only been
Yeah.
one player that it's hit multiple times. Now it's three times. It's Kamara.
Yep.
Kamara's the one that runs CMC. I mean, CMC supposedly is actually coming back this week.
That's
So
exactly right. Yep.
we'll see. But Kamara, man. Yeah. You hit on these three and 119 card points.
Yeah, I mean, look at that Chase, 4.3. CD Lamb, 8.2. I mean, just
Yeah.
crazy. Now the Chargers defense was great, Tucker great, but really you won that with, I guess, your defense and your three running backs. So a little bit of trench warfare here.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the scary part, right? Like this lineup could have, if Chase and CD had any
Yep.
type of a normal game,
Yep.
this would have been a lot more. Actually, I don't know if that's true
It would
because
have been a
it,
lot more, but it still would have been, I bet it would have hit
well,
250.
yeah. So they would have scored more points, but then hurricane season would have gone down
Mm.
because it actually decreases your receiver scores. So that's an interesting question. I actually don't know how much that would have helped. But yeah, I mean, hit on your three and
It's
you know,
nuts.
this will carry you.
Yeah.
So
Just as easy as that. Everyone play it. Pick the right three running backs every week. Good for you. I don't think
yeah.
it's easy.
Though I will say they won also because of the run CMC. If they didn't hit on run
That's right.
CMC, they would
Yeah.
not have
Yep.
they
That
they
30
they still would
points
have
there.
placed top five. Like they still would have placed top five, but they wouldn't have won overall. They won overall because they also hit on run CMC, which we know is incredibly hard
Yep.
to hit on. So good for them. Huge, I mean, huge risk here. I mean, not playing a quarterback and not playing a tight end. That's
Right.
uh that's quite a move. So we have a little bit of time. Why don't we set a lineup? Unfortunately, we can't take any of the Bengals or Ravens, but why don't we set a lineup? Let's pretend that we are going to go with this with this hurricane season and hellacious halfbacks combo. So if we're going to go with these two, obviously we are going to be playing three running backs.
Yep.
Who do you have?
Well, so is
Or
CMC not in here yet? Maybe
so
because of an
CMC,
injury?
yeah, so CMC is not in here because he currently is still on IR,
Okay.
and IR players are excluded. What we've seen is a lot of teams take their players off IR Saturday. So if you want CMC, I would recommend logging in Saturday and seeing if he's available then. And he should be, it really depends on when the 49ers take him off IR. Once they take him off IR, all our data gets updated every 30 seconds. So it will basically he'll basically show up immediately.
Okay. Well, let's pretend he's not there. I'm probably going Williams on Monday night against the Dolphins. I like Kamara against the Falcons. And then you're gonna take Saquon, but you tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
Saquon. I mean,
Yeah.
against Dallas, it's rivalry game. Um, there's a big like with Dak is out, right? So it's Cooper Rush,
Yeah.
I think
Rush.
is the quarterback. I mean, if it's a blowout, Saquon could be getting like 30 carries that game.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
um, and then what other card? So for a $3,000 card, I could just go
Now
completely
listen.
here, but
Yeah, you could go all in.
um, let's say
Here's what this to me could be kind of fun. I don't know if we'll have enough budget, but why not put Taysom Hill in at quarterback? That's a little cheat code for everyone. He gets anything as quarterback. He's quarterback eligible here. You can do roll a dice on him. You can do human vulture if we have that money left over, and that can just be a massive, massive card.
is Taysom Hill. Oh yeah, he is quarterback eligible.
Cheat
You're
code.
right.
And again, you're trying to play a cheap quarterback because we're going to offset a lot of his scores. But correct me if I'm wrong, Haibo. These cards, the Hurricane season and Hellacious halfbacks, they don't offset his card points. Is
They
that
do not. Yep, the cards don't stack. Yep.
That's correct, right? So then if we put something like a human vulture, again, if we have money left over, or he's not going to play over 30 snaps. We got Kamara there. So then we're kind of betting that if Kamara doesn't get that touchdown and Hill does, Hill plays less than 30 snaps. That's a nice score while also not having, really worried about his real score as a quarterback.
I like that. Let's do roll of the dice. Let's do roll of the dice on Taysom Hill. And yeah,
I'd put human vulture and then wish we had a $500 card.
so it looks like Human Vulture is a running. So Human Vulture only can be played on receivers,
Okay.
running back, and
Never
tight
mind.
ends,
Never
unfortunately.
mind. Yeah.
So nothing there. So, we
That's
have
okay.
you could
Hey, put in
anybody that
Turpin.
you
I loved what last week was it Deadeye or who played Turpin? That was a great play for with special teams ace.
yeah, let's do it. Um,
And again, I think that's a great strategy, right? Because his receiving points are going to be offset. But then when now you're kind of playing him with the again a cheap guy to play, and you're going to get his special teams points. And if he hits a touchdown, what's that? 18 points. I mean, it's crazy. It's a great
yeah,
this is going to win. If someone copies this lineup, this is going to win the weekly next week.
yeah. And now you still have 18,000 to play around with.
Yeah, I think we could get a full roster in.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Anybody that you like in particular? Kickers or defenses?
Why don't we go Aubrey? Just again, stay on
Right.
that game that there's a lot of Dallas Eagles
Yeah.
kind of shootouts. Let's stay there.
Aubrey, defense wise.
Hmm. Why don't we go Chargers? I think we're going to have budget against the
Yep.
Titans.
All right. And we actually have some money left.
Sure do.
Especially if we go with a cheaper tight end.
Yep, we're
I
going to
mean,
go play a
again,
great
you can
receiver.
go with Cade.
Yep.
Like, I think Evans still isn't back, right? Evans
Not that I
still
know
isn't
of. I haven't
back.
seen it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go with Cade, then you
Oh, we got
actually have,
6,300.
I mean, you could still get like a legitimate receiver.
Yeah. You know who I like? I think Williams coming back, Jameson, and then again, Lad McConkey. Again, go. You say stay with the Chargers,
I
but
like
just
Lad.
put it on the Titans. Yeah, I mean he's the number one there, and Herbert's can
Yeah,
throw a lot better. That I don't
yeah,
know. That's a pretty nice looking lineup.
yeah. I like this too. Yeah. This is so, again, Owen and I can't win. So any of our viewers, if you like this, copy it. Let's see how it does.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I like it too. I actually like it a lot. We will
That
we
that's
will
the
come back
fun.
next week and see how it does.
It's what makes the game great to me is the creativity. You can kind of play around when you start thinking and watching what other people are doing. You can come up with some really cool strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, always a pleasure and
Yep.
good luck this weekend with you and your teams. For
Thank
everyone
you.
watching, good luck with you and your teams and we'll come back and check us out next week. So
Awesome.
have a good one.
See you guys.
All right. Bye.